Today, I'm hungry and I'm ready for change. I run too far to still be the same. See who I was, I give him away today.
Hello, welcome to the season finale of Serving the God TV. My guest today is a young man that I haven't known for a very long time. But when this guy told me his testimony, I had to have him on the show. He is filled with the Holy Spirit, so welcome to my show, Ken Marks.
My name is Kenneth Marks Jr. I'm from Washington Park, Illinois, and I'm going to give you a brief description about how I came to Christ and what I had went through as a child growing up in Washington Park. As far back I can remember, back when I was like around 4 years old, me and my brothers and my sister, we went through a very hard time back when I was younger. Went through a lot of child abuse. I mean, it was severe. It wasn't just regular child abuse, just being yelled at. No, it was physical, a lot of physical. Never understood why. You know, I remember us walking on eggshells as far as my stepdad's concerned. You know, he used to steal from my mom, go out there, get high and stuff. My mom was, you know, basically single. You know, and she didn't know how to raise children. She wasn't right in the head. So, but anyway, my real dad, I didn't have no type of relationship with him. I didn't know him until I was like 9 years old. My real dad disowned me, came and got my brother and my sisters. My oldest brother ran away, and I was still there. Locked in the basement, wasn't allowed to eat, wasn't allowed to make any noise, wasn't allowed to have company. Wasn't allowed to use a phone, no TV, no bed, no blanket. Wasn't allowed to use the bathroom, couldn't take baths. It was harsh, and even since then, you know, as I've grown up, you know, I'm 28 now. All glory to God. I'm at the age of 28 now. Even then, you know, growing up, I've grown accustomed to a lot of those old habits. I don't like TV. I don't mind being alone, and just little stuff like that. I don't eat much, you know. But back to the story. My stepdad, you know, he played a lot of favoritism. My stepdad played a lot of favoritism. If your last name wasn't like his last name, you're an outcast. You know, I mean, from getting beaten with extension cords and switches to curtain rods to broomsticks. You know, my mom didn't like us calling her mom, so that's how you earned another whooping by that. You know, and one day when I was 16, you know, I've been going through this for a long time, being abused by my parents. I was laying down on the basement floor, asleep. And my stepdad's son came downstairs and was going through my pockets. Now I had earned $5 that day. I think I had raped a yard. I earned like $5, which was a lot of money to me. And I had a feeling that somebody was next to me. And I opened up my eyes, and it was my little brother with his hand in my pocket. You know, and when I called him, he laughed and called me out of my name and ran up the stairs. But he forgot to lock the door behind him. So I took that to my advantage, and I said, you know what? I'm tired of all this. I'm sick of them treating me this way. I don't know what I do to deserve this. I don't backtalk anybody. I go to school. I come home. I'm not a bad kid, you know. And also being in that type of environment, I had to make up imaginary friends and stuff like that. I had to keep myself sane by doing this. I didn't have toys. Barely had clothes. But this is how I learned stealing. My second oldest brother, Lawan, taught me how to use a wire hanger and pick the lock from the basement door. It was like an inch wide space where you can look up and you can see the lock. At first it was a latch lock like this, and I would get a wire hanger and put it up under the door and unlatch the lock and lift up on the door so they would make the noise. So I would do that, and I would also gently climb on top of the oven and take a box of Cheerios and peanut butter and jelly and mix it all together and eat it, or take some spaghetti sticks and soak it in seasoned salt and eat it, or dry ramen noodles with a slice of cheese and eat it, and I just survive off of that. But anyway, back to my little brother stealing from me. He ran into his dad's room, and he had ran behind his dad and stood there. And I had premeditated the whole thing. I said, I'm finna take his life. These kids keep me in trouble. I'm getting beat constantly by their dad, called out my name, being abused by my mom and my stepdad every day, locked in this cold basement. I'm always sick because I don't have clothes and socks and stuff like that, and a blanket or a bed to sleep on. I gotta sleep on this cold concrete floor. So I reached over my stepdad and grabbed my hand around his neck, my little brother's neck, and I started to shake him really hard. And my stepdad got up and knocked me across the room. And my mom got up and grabbed her belt and started beating me with it. And now my nose was bleeding, and as I'm trying to defend myself and explain why I was trying to choke my little brother, my mom just kept yelling out, I don't want to hear it, I want to hear it. Get your it and get out of my house. Now I'm 16, it's in the middle of November, and it's midnight. And I thought to myself, at first I started crying, but then I said, Ken, I would rather be out on the street and homeless and alone than be in this house. You know, so I took what little things I had and I left. And this was in Washington Park, 1416 North 54th Street in Washington Park. The house is still there, and my mom and them still own the house. I left, I had nowhere to go, so I came back and fell asleep on the back porch. That day, I got up and left again. And that time, I made a promise to myself I would never go back to my mom's house. Well, time passed by, and this is catching up to where I had started giving, well, before I gave my life to the Lord, of course. I used to get food stamps. I was homeless all that time, you know. So I was getting food stamps, and because of my small appetite, I used to go to Walmart, get a 50-cent 2-liter soda, a bag of Doritos, and some gummy snacks. And that could last me a whole week. Believe it or not, it could last me a whole week. And I would give the rest of it to my mom. And I asked them, I said, hey, is it okay if I move into 1416 until I get on my feet? Because the house was empty and they moved into another house, which was next door. And her and Paul said, okay. So, to make a long story short, my stamps ran out. I was in need of a place to stay. And when I brought it back to my mom's attention, she was like, well, you got to talk to Paul. I don't want to hear it. And I was like, Nate, don't do this. You promised. And then she cut me off. Ken, I don't want to hear it. Go ask Paul. So I go to my stepdad. I'm like, Paul, do you remember when I gave you my link card and I asked y'all if I could move next door till I get on my feet? You know, I don't hang around any bad company. It's just me, myself, and I don't have any kids. Is it okay if I stay there till I get on my feet? Well, who? Not in my house. You're not going to live in my house. So I stepped back and I thought about it. And this is when I first heard Satan loud and clear. And it just so happened that I caught my ex-girlfriend cheating on me a day before this happened. So Satan's very words was, your brother left you, your sister left you, your dad disowned you, your mom don't love you, your stepdad hates you, and most of all, your God hates you. He's up there laughing at you. Why don't you just kill yourself and just get it over with? Now this would have been my third time trying to commit suicide. And I said, you know what? I had this duffel bag. I had this blue duffel bag full of rat poison, and I had some ibuprofen in it, and I had some other things in it. And I'm jumping over some of the story. There's another reason why I had that stuff in my bag, because of construction purposes. But to get to the punchline of the whole thing, I grabbed what I could, and my mom was standing in the driveway when I did it. And I took a handful and I gulped everything that I had in my hand down my throat. And my mom was like, what was you? And she started shaking me, and I took her hands and I yanked them off me, and I was like, don't pretend like you care now, because you had all this time from when I was a baby all the way to I was 16 plus years old to at least pretend like you care, but you never did. You chose Paul over your own kids, and that's why we all separated now. And my head began to spin. I began to get woozy, and I thought I was going to die. And my last words to them was, I hope I see y'all burning in hell right alongside me. And I woke up at a Kenneth Hall well, St. Mary's, and they put me in the cycle ward. But before they did that, I was on a gurney, and I woke up on a gurney, and my stomach was still feeling queasy, but I was amazed. I was like, why am I still alive? And so I started cursing myself. I was like, Ken, you can't live right, you can't die right, you're just good for nothing. You know, and I was just and I was laying there, and I was like, well, now what I'm gonna do? And they put me in the cycle ward, and you get one window that opened up about 1 inch. You got a closet that you cannot open because they think that you'll commit suicide, and you get a little twin size cot that feels like crap. So I laid on it, and this lady came to my room and knocked on the door, and I opened up the door, and she handed me this Bible, and she asked me, have I ever thought about giving my life to the Lord? And I just laughed at her and closed the door in her face. But I still had the Bible in my hand. I sat down, I looked at it, and I threw it across the room. I was like, he's the reason why I'm in this crap. You got all this power, God, but then you gonna sit up there and watch me go through this garbage, you know. And so I laid down, coughed a light, tried to go to sleep, but I couldn't. I got up, and something dawned on me. I said, well, you know what, Ken? It's amazing that you are still alive. Maybe there's a reason to why you're alive. And I cut the light back on, and I started reading that Bible. And then after about an hour or so, I put the Bible down, I started complaining. I ain't gonna say praying, I was complaining. I said, why did you create me? Why you got me going through this? I'm not a bad kid. Why can't I get blessed to one of those rich families or something? You know, why you got me going through this? And this is when I first began to hear the voice of the Lord, when he said that he had a purpose and a plan for me. That I went through what I went through for a reason. That I was gonna be ministering to other young people someday that's going through the same thing. And I told him I couldn't be used for ministry. I stutter. I don't know how to talk to people. I don't like people. I was growing up to, you know, in seclusion. I was put away. When I was in the basement, it was bars on the windows. I couldn't even open the window. But God said that he had a purpose and a plan for me. And that day, I took it upon myself. I got on my knees and I got on my face. I said, well, Lord, from this day forth, not my will, but let yours be done. And it was 3 days before my 22nd birthday. And after that, I was like, Lord, how am I going to get out of here? They're not going to let me out of here. They think I'm crazy, you know. But 3 days later, no, I'm sorry, 2 days later, they had evaluated me. They had released me. God blessed me with a job at the airport. I was making real good money. My mom and my stepdad was coming back around then with a hand out, you know, but I couldn't hold a grudge against them. To me, I was like, they don't know any better. You know, and ever since then, I've been on this narrow path called life, fighting the good fight of faith. Of course, I have my struggles and my trials, but they.
Does anybody out there going through some of the same things that you went through, Ken? What advice would you give?
A person out there that's going through depression or even having suicidal thoughts like I had constantly, the words of wisdom that I can give you. If you're wondering if God is watching you go through this madness, or, you know, if you wonder why God let me go through this, or anything like that, understand this. You wake up every day for a reason. You have a purpose. As long as there's life and breath in your body, know that God is watching over you. Now, is it easy? No. It's not meant to be easy. Even Christ said the road to life is difficult. But your trials and tribulations make you grow stronger.
Watching Support Serving the God TV. This has been another Serving the God TV production.
Today, I'm hungry and I'm ready for change. I run too far to still be the same. See who I was, I give him away.